Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of House Bimba podcast. Before we go into the episode, I just have one thing to ask you, which is if you're enjoying the show, please hit the subscribe button so we can keep bringing you bigger, better guests, keep the show going. Let's roll with the episode. I know it might seem so daunting whenever you are starting a new career and you have no idea if the right people are going to come into your path. Where are you going to get the resources from? How are we going to make this idea work? How are we going to bring this idea to life? But you just need to believe and trust in your ability that you will keep walking the path. I remember when I came back from Bali to London and I was homeless. What really helped me when I was in this transition limbo period is, what am I looking forward to? Every single experience, every single thing that you go through in life will teach you so much. But the thing is, you need to grow from it, and you will grow from it. How was I even gonna know how to build a business? I know it might seem so daunting whenever you are starting a new career. The blank Canva is not the one that controls what's going to be in the Canva. The one that controls what's going to be in there is yourself. Okay, guys, so this is a solo episode. I kind of feel like I want to do more of this. It's so funny because I've really prepared this episode, but I do feel like I'm just gonna talk and basically go through everything I want to say, but I don't want this episode to be too serious, too scripted. I want you guys to feel at home, just as I feel at home when I'm recording this episode. So in the episode today, what you are going to learn is how to reinvent yourself after a major life setback, and you can do this at any age so you can achieve your dream life. Because when I look back into my life, I'm only 28. And I know that a lot of you that are watching this podcast, these episodes, you are between 25, 40, and these will go, you will be able to do this at any age. I'm only 28, but I've been through a lot of phases in life where I had to start over every single time. And obviously, you learn how to do this. But I've also learned that starting over is very, very needed, because you don't start from scratch. Even though it feels like you start from scratch, you start from a lot of experience and skill and ability, which is what I want to talk about today. And I want to give you the framework on how to reinvent your life, on how to start over, but from a much better space, from a much better place than you might think. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how to rewire your limiting beliefs when it comes to starting over, and when it comes to, let's say, you left a career that you thought was what you wanted to do, but turns out that it's not, and you kind of feel like you're starting from scratch again. And this was me. I've changed careers 3 times. This podcast, as you're seeing, this was my biggest leap of faith, my biggest reinvention, my biggest pivot to date. I had a consulting business for 5 years, and I burned that down to the ground because that was no longer what I wanted. That was no longer myself and what I wanted for my life. And I started a podcast with no speaking skills, with no production skills, with not a big following on social media. And here we are. So one of the ways I did that, and that I'm successfully doing that every single day, is by rewiring my limiting beliefs. So, and that was one of the main things. I am not starting from zero. I'm starting from skill and experience, because in life, a lot of people ask you, what do you want? A lot of people are asking you this probably when you go for a new job, when you start a new business, and you hire someone to help you, hire a mindset coach or a life coach, and they ask you, like, tell me, how does your day-to-day look like? What do you want? How does your dream life look like? But what they don't ask you is, like, what is it that you don't want in your life? What are some of the things that you don't want to repeat in your life? What are some of the patterns that you don't want to keep repeating in this business, in this career, in this relationship? And I do think that massively, massively helps and makes a big, big difference, because a lot of the times when you're reinventing yourself, you don't necessarily know what you want. That vision doesn't look like very clear at first, but you do know what you don't want. And by you knowing what you don't want, you can start creating the life that you want by not repeating the same patterns, the same mistakes. So for me, like, making sure that I know where my limiting beliefs are coming from, like, for example, when I launched this podcast, or when I was like booking guests for the podcast, I was like, well, who am I? Like, I've never recorded a podcast in my life. I mean, I've been to a podcast, but I've never hosted a podcast in my life. I've never done public speaking, only twice, and I was very nervous. My palms were sweaty. Who am I to actually ask people that are very successful in what they've done and what they're doing to just come and sit with me and talk with me with a podcast that back then didn't even existed? And after digging a lot, I've realized that was coming from a lack of confidence and from a lack of self-worth, that I was not worthy and deserving of just going after my dream career and getting every guest I wanted in the podcast. So I would say be mindful of this whenever you reinvent yourself, because and this brings me to the second topic, right? It's all about identity and self-discovery. So the problem is, if you attach yourself, if you attached who you are and what you do and everything, your being, to your career, to how many hours you work, to how many like quotas you hit, even with your business, if you attach yourself to how much money you make at the end of the month, at the end of the week, whenever you choose to do something different, something that is completely different than what you were used to do, there's a high chance, and I'm not saying this because coming from a pessimistic point of view, but because it's true and I've seen it and I've lived it, there's a high chance that you won't make it, because you are attaching yourself, who you are at your core, with your performance. And that has nothing to do with who you are. Who you are is not your skill set. Who you are is not how many hours you work. Who you are is not your performance. Who you are is your core values, is the ability that you have to attain that skill, the ability you have to attain that goal, the ability you have to start over, knowing you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from ability and skills that you've developed on your previous career, on your previous relationship. Like, when we decide to like leave a relationship, like we've had guests in the podcast that left a marriage with kids, like they divorced because what they wanted was no longer that, and maybe it was never that what they wanted. And myself, like I left relationships, and I left my relationship because it was just, my core values were just, I had no idea what my core values were. So I think that's a problem that comes from not knowing who you truly are, not when you are at the top and thriving, but when you are your complete lowest. Who you are when you're at your lowest. Do you keep waking up every day? Do you keep showing up? Do you keep brushing your teeth? Do you keep like washing yourself? Do you keep like nourishing your body? That's who you are. And for me, what that tells me is that you're a resilient person, and a person with the ability to wake up every single day and do the thing every single day. And that's who you are. That's the foundation that you are going to build everything from. And I know it might seem so daunting whenever you are starting a new career and you have no idea if the right people are going to come into your path. Where are you going to get the resources from? How are we going to make this idea work? How are we going to bring this idea to life? But you just need to believe and trust in your ability that you will keep walking the path, that you will figure it out, because everything in life, you can figure it out, but it doesn't come from your skill. It comes from the ability, and the ability then creates the skill for you to go and attain these things. And that's something that took me 28 years to learn, but probably 10 years to learn since I started with my career, with entrepreneurship, with, knowing more about who I was and who you are when you're going through a very big life change, say divorce, say breaking up with a partner, say getting laid off your work, of your job, say starting a new career, moving countries, like you've named it. I've done all of it. Not divorce, but I've done all of it. Who you are when you're in that spot is who you truly are at your core. So think about this every time you feel like scared to do something, scared to start a new career, because that's who you are and that's how you're going to build everything from. And then that also brings me to my third step in how to reinvent yourself, which is, this might be a bit controversial, but honestly, I don't know any other way around it. Find your purpose in your pain. Sit with your pain. Just sit in it. Like, I remember when I came back from Bali to London and I was homeless. I had no house because I had no income, because I burned down my business to start the podcast. I had no plan B. I just had plan A. And I even get a bit emotional when I talk about this, but I remember being on my friend's bathroom floor. And funny enough, it was a very awful day in London. It was just raining. And I remember being on my bathroom floor, sitting on my bathroom floor with my PJs, crying. I didn't, my hair was crazy. Like, I didn't wash my hair in 3 days. I was so depressed. I was heartbroken. Imagine, I was depressed, broke, heartbroken, unemployed. And I remember sitting, that was the first time in my life, probably the very first time in my life, that I was sitting in my own pain. And that's when I decided I'm going to launch the podcast. I'm going to build my dream life. And I don't care if it's going to take 1, 3, 4, 10 years. I'm going to do that because I know that I don't want myself to keep sitting in this pain for this long. And the most important thing is I don't want people to sit into that pain and feel the exact same way I was feeling. Feel defeated, feel alone, feel like a complete failure, feel like, and probably that was the worst feeling. Feel like everything that I've done in the past 5 years was in complete vain. And that's what I say. You are never starting from scratch. You are never starting from rock bottom. Even if you are in rock bottom right now, you are starting from a lot of skill and from a lot of ability. And for me, that was when I found my purpose. I've been looking for what's my thing for 7 to 8 years. I was like, okay, like I'm coaching people, I'm building this business, but what's my thing really? Like I just couldn't pinpoint it. And I was like, what's your passion? What's your purpose? Well, when I sit in the pain, when I processed the pain, when I went through that painful situation, when I was faced with who I thought I was, with who I truly was, that's when I realized, like, that is my purpose. That's what I want to do in my life. And you'll see that a lot of successful people, they also go through this. And what I'm saying is, like, I'm not saying go suffer, go endure pain, but I am saying pain is needed. And I don't know if you're Christian, like whatever religion, non-religion, but even like on the Bible says, like, we need to suffer, we need to endure pain because pain creates discipline, discipline creates character, and character creates faith, right? So for me, if I wouldn't have been in that situation where I just couldn't stand it anymore, and even my friends, it got to a point that they were just like, Geni, like, get yourself back together. I remember, I don't know if I want to share this, but I guess like I feel like I feel truly called to share this right now because I know it's gonna help at least one person. I remember 2 months after my breakup, and um I was in complete rock bottom. I was struggling to pay bills. I was struggling to eat, to pay for groceries. I was struggling a lot mentally. I was in a place that I've never been before. Um, every day I would wake up and it would just be a very dark cloud in my head. And I remember I called my dad that day, and my dad said to me, like, you are depressed. That's not who you are. You've already gone through this. You've been crying for 3 months. Get yourself back together. Get back to yourself. Don't keep simmering in this victim cycle that you're in this. Obviously, I was heartbroken. And obviously, what my dad said really, like, it hurt me at that time, because it was like, why would my dad said to me, like, I look depressed and that's not me, and to just get myself back together, to get it together. But now in hindsight, like 3 months later, now I realize, like, I was just prolonging my pain and my suffering, and it was my own doing. And at the time, I see it now, but I couldn't see it at the time. I had a lot of control over the situation. So for me, also something I've learned when reinventing myself, when starting over at any age, is that you are always in control. You are always in control. Even if it feels like you're not in control, you're always in control. And I like to use this analogy because that's the way I see reinventing yourself. That's the way I see starting over. That's the way I see failure and success, which only exists in your subconscious mind, by the way. It's a canva, right? Like, you have a blank canva, and the canvas is blank, like there's nothing in it. And then you start drawing in it, you start like whatever it is that you want to do in it. But the thing is, the blank canva is not the one that controls what's going to be in the canva. The one that controls what's going to be in there is yourself. Your skill and your ability to turn a blank canva to start from, again, over again, knowing that you have the skill and the ability to turn it into an amazing and beautiful canvas, in an amazing and beautiful portrait. That's how I see life. That's how I see reimagine yourself. That's how I see going through struggles, going through pain. You wake up every day with a blank canvas, and you wake up every day with your skill and ability to turn a blank canvas into a beautiful, beautiful portrait. Life works the exact same way. Exact same way. It's just how you view it. It's very, very powerful. So that is something that really, really helped me to be here today, sit here today. And I'm not saying it's easy, because on my way here, I was late to the studio. I was feeling a lot of resistance, a lot of nerves, because like, what am I going to actually say to people? I did not achieve much, but all of this is just like your subconscious, your limiting beliefs trying to get the best of you. And you need the ability and skill to have the control of what you're going to paint in the canvas, right? In the blank canvas. So that's something that really helped me. And the last thing that I want to say when it comes to reimagining your life and achieving your dream life, is to know what you're striving for, to know your direction. To know the goal. You don't need to know how to get there. Let's say, very simple example. You want to get somewhere, right? You're just on a road trip and you don't know how to get there, but you know where you're going. You know the end destination. So you just use a GPS that is going to tell you the fastest, sometimes not, but usually the fastest route to get you to the end destination that you want to get to. But you don't know the path that the journey is going to take you. Same with your goals, same with your life. Like, I feel like when I was in this transition of figuring my life out, figuring my career, because for me, I feel like for me and for a lot of people probably, you can just let me know after you've listened to this episode, if this resonated. But I feel like the biggest thing that we strive for in life is to find our purpose, to find our passion, and to be able to transform that in a career, to be able to make a living out of what we love. And when we are in this limbo that we don't know our purpose, or we don't know what we're good at, or we don't know how we're going to make a living with a career that we love, that's when we feel that's when we feel really lost. But it doesn't have to be that way. To always think about the GPS and analogy that I just gave you. So for me, what really helped me when I was in this transition limbo period is, what am I looking forward to? And for me, funny enough, was just to sit here and record episodes. And I would just leave whatever was going on in my life outside of the studio and just come here and sit and record, because I knew that as much as I needed help and I was getting help, it was my turn to also help people. And that is what got me through everything. Like, when I started recording the episodes, when I moved back to London, like, I was at my lowest, but I was like, I have this thing that's pushing me forward. And in days that I couldn't even get out of bed, because I would deal with a lot of physical symptoms, because I had anxiety, I had panic attacks, I had you name it. In days like that, I was like, okay, I have a podcast episode to record today. I'm just going to go and do it, because I owe it to myself and I owe it to the bigger vision, to the purpose. Was I lost? Yes. Do I feel lost sometimes? I do. And it's so normal and it's so okay. But I had the end destination in mind. And I just had to take one step in front of the other and just walk. I'm going to quote the Bible again and again. I don't know if you're religious, if you're not, either way, this is going to resonate. There is one book in the Bible, one passage, I can't just remember which one it is right now, but it says, "Do not be afraid, I will help you." And this translates into, even if you don't know what's going to come next, just keep walking and the path will appear. It's always like that. It's the same when you're taking on a new position, a new career, when you're moving countries. Like when I moved to London, I didn't even know how to crack an egg. And I am so serious with this. Like I didn't even know how to crack an egg. Like I once set the oven on fire. How was I even going to know how to build a business? I had no idea how to do any of it. And here we are 5 years later. I wouldn't say we made it, but we're here, right? It's because I just kept painting on that blank canvas every day. I kept making it the most beautiful portrait that I could every day. And that's how I want you to see your life. That's how I want you to see the season you're in of reinventing yourself. And also knowing that you do deserve to have anything that is that you set your mind to. Even if, let's say, your career failed, even if you decide to leave that relationship and now you feel lost and now you feel like, was it the right decision? Was it not the right decision? You moved countries and it kind of feels like a bit chaotic. You got this. You got this. And every single experience, every single thing that you go through in life will teach you so much. And this is the good thing, your ability to achieve your goals will just increase, because a lot of people talk about skills, but not a lot of people talk about ability. Your skills are attained because of your ability to believe in yourself and to work on attaining those skills, which then they will propel you to achieving your goals and living your dream life. So I want to leave you with a research that I found, and hopefully this will inspire you to start that business, change that career, leave that partner, leave that relationship, whatever it is that you want to do. Only 6% of people achieve their goals in life. Only 6% of people achieve their goals in their life. So for me, by doing this podcast, by doing this episode, my aim is to increase that percentage. Doesn't need to be a lot, but at least increase, at least help you reinvent yourself at any age and achieve what you want. The main reason why a lot of people don't achieve their goals in life is because it's not because they're not able. They are very able. It's because they just don't believe that they are able to achieve their goals. They don't believe that they will just start walking and the path will appear. And also because maybe they don't have the tools, right? Like that's also why I'm doing this podcast, because now I know that all the hardships that I went through, they served a purpose. And it's what I said on a lot of episodes. Your pain serves a purpose. Your pain serves a purpose. Believe me. Like what you're going through right now, as painful as it is, it's a purpose. And pain fuels action. And by action, your action fuels your purpose too. So yeah, I just want to leave you with this research, this data, because I do believe it's really important. And remember that whatever it is that you're going through, you're not alone. I'm here with you. And all the guests that you've seen on the podcast have also gone through their fair amount of failures and pain. But the thing is, you need to grow from it, and you will grow from it. So I hope this episode helped. If it really helped, please subscribe, share with someone that needs this, and let's close the year strong, and let's get 1% better every day, get 1% closer to achieving your dream life. Hi guys, it's your host here, Geni Cor. If you made it this far, I hope that this episode has helped you heal, grow, expand in some way. It would mean the world if you can subscribe, like, and comment, because it's gonna help the podcast grow massively. Your support means the world to me and to my team, and we're just gonna bring you better content, bigger guests. So please just support the podcast if you can, and if you think this is gonna help someone, please share it with them. I'll see you next Thursday.